Hey, friends, here we are near the 20th anniversary of the episode in U.S. history called 9/11. For those of us who saw it on TV, it's almost unbelievable to think of buildings falling so easily after being hit by an airplane. Did it affect modern history at all? 20 years later, right now the newspapers are full of very uncomfortable things that the Taliban are doing. What did 9/11 do to Taliban? Did it stimulate it? Or did they just continue planning their takeover of the country? I myself have had calls and heard of just disastrous and horrible things. And the interesting thing is, these things don't surprise me. So much horror has happened in my lifetime in the world. I've wondered, what would the 9/11 equivalent of a love revolution be? That would be fascinating to me, where on the one hand, giant buildings collapse and many people die. What could be a love experience? I mean, maybe we could say some kind of electronic movement in the world changes a whole country into loving. Because I have fantasized about that. In the U.S., such a large and powerful country, what if overnight something affected, let's say in the water, the air, the food, and suddenly everyone woke up the day after and they could feel this feeling inside, this way they treated their spouse, the way they treated their children, with love. And before you know it, people are on the phone talking to everyone they know in the same way they did with 9/11. But now they're talking on the phone about love, about feelings of loving neighbors that they didn't normally love, of races they didn't normally love, of religious beliefs they didn't normally love. And now no one is forcing them. There's no gun at their head. That the, quote, 9/11 disaster is inside explaining to people to love thy neighbor as thyself. And before you know it, self is loving self, and then wanting that love of self to filter into the love of all people. You know, it's funny, I'm sitting here, Derek was wondering about doing something about anniversary of 9/11, and I'm trying to imagine the 9/11 of love. And I like it. 9/11, the disaster, was monstrous and captivated people. And to tell you the truth, I think if there were the equivalent 9/11 in love, it would captivate people even more. Can you imagine saying, I've got to run to the grocery store and hug the cashiers who work so hard? Oh, the street sweepers. Yeah. So if we share that empowerment of horror to an empowerment of loving, that's what I'm thinking about right now. What is your 9/11 of love? And would we have an anniversary on it 20 years later? I'm going to tell you something. If there were the love invasion that I'm talking about, we would never stop talking about it, except as we experience in living flesh. I know I'm crazy, but I'm going to think about it the rest of the day. The 9/11 of loving. Thank you, Derek. Crazy as it is, my mind instantly leaves the real 9/11 and goes to the one where everyone on the planet are caring for each other, caring for the rest of nature, and finding a way to make life beautiful for all. Now there's a crazy result of 9/11. I mean, here we are talking about 9/11 and its impact and how it's on everybody's mind. Why? It's another example of murder. And I want to know, how is it that when your partner wakes up and looks at you so tenderly, and then your kid runs in the room and gives you a kiss, 9/11 doesn't hold a candle to it. It can be an experience that sustains you forever. After a couple of years from 9/11, they're going to want another 9/11. And between those 2 years, how many wonderful touches and kisses from your family will you have? Remember the empowerment of love.